Today's guest, Lance Bernard Bryant, and one of the most groundbreaking music groups of all time, the Platters, will be appearing for 3 performances at the Avalon Theatre at Fallsview Casino on November 6th and 7th, 2024. You can purchase tickets for this event by going to fallsviewcasinoresort.com or ticketmaster.ca. Don't miss the opportunity to see this legendary group live in concert.
Hello, everyone. I'm Harvey Brownstone, and today's guest is a current member of one of the greatest, most popular, and beloved legendary music groups in history, the Platters. Founded in 1952 by bass singer Herb Reed, the Platters brought us 40 hit singles, including the classic songs Only You, The Great Pretender, My Prayer, Twilight Time, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, Harbor Lights, Enchanted, Winner Take All, The Magic Touch, and many more. The Platters was the first Black group to reach international superstardom with over 80 million records sold worldwide. They've been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Vocal Group Hall of Fame, and the Grammy Hall of Fame, and their classic hit songs Only You and The Great Pretender have been included in the Grammy Museum list of the greatest songs of the 20th century. They were the only act to have 3 songs included on the American Graffiti soundtrack, which is widely credited with igniting an oldies revival throughout the world in the mid-70s. And the global love affair with the music of the Platters just keeps growing. In fact, their music is so phenomenally popular that on Spotify alone, their songs are streamed more than 3 million times every month. And despite a tumultuous history spanning decades of racism, unscrupulous identity theft, and legal battles, and despite the passing of all the original members, the Platters as a group has endured and evolved and thrived over 7 decades, thanks to Herb Reed's successor, Fred Balboni Jr., who has worked tirelessly to preserve and honor the legacy of this monumentally important group, which continues to bring their magnificent, timeless music to concert halls throughout the world. They are currently on a North American tour, and our guest is Lance Bernard Bryant, one of the 4 current members of the Platters, who's taken time out of his very busy touring schedule to speak with me today. Lance, welcome to our show, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Harvey. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's an honor to have you. Lance, I want to begin by asking you, how did you become a member of the Platters?
Well, that's a great question. I became a member of the Platters when I was living in New York in Astoria, Queens, around 2012. I had just finished a production of Zaya in Macau, China with Cirque du Soleil. And a buddy of mine sent me a text suggesting that I attend an audition. And that turned out to land me in the group, the Platters.
So how long have you been a member of the group?
I've been a member of the group since 2012, just 2 months after founding and naming member Herb Reed passed.
What kind of music did you listen to when you were growing up?
When I was growing up, I listened to a lot of R&B, hip hop, and soul. My grandmother sang in the choir in church, so I listened to quite a bit of gospel growing up. I listened to so much music. I fell in love with music at a very young age, so my taste is very wide.
Now, you're a young guy. Were you familiar with the music of the Platters as a kid?
Yes, I was. I'm a big fan of harmony. I've sung in a cappella groups for many years in my life, and when this opportunity presented itself, my jaw hit the floor because I knew immediately the group that I was asked to join.
A lot of people don't know how the Platters got their name, but as I understand it, the name came from the turntable on a record player that spins the vinyl discs, which was called a platter. Is that correct?
That is correct. That's the story I've been told by Fred, who knew Herb Reed personally as his personal friend and manager for many years, as well as some of the other members who taught me when I first came into the group. They shared that story with me as well.
So you met a number of original members of the group?
Well, we say there's only one original member, which was Herb Reed. But at the time when I joined the group, they were just mourning his loss. So I learned the ropes, as they'd say, by the members that were most recently performing with him at that time. And they shared so much of their experience of, being on the road alongside Herb, as well as our music director that's with us presently. He performed alongside Herb Reed for, 15 years? I'm 20, 25, I think it is.
So when you perform those classic songs, are you using original choreography?
We try to keep to the original vibe. There is one move that's very signature for us that I was taught, which we call the Platters snap, kind of lead a little snap and swing, and you'll see that happen naturally. I learned that from his name is Wayne Miller, and we affectionately refer to him as the group's historian.
Well, I have to tell you, one of the reasons I'm so thrilled to have you on this show is that when I was 11 years old, the
Okay.
Platters came to perform in my little hometown of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, at a
Wow.
place called the Silver Rail. And you had to be an adult to get in. But somehow my parents convinced the doorman to let me in. And I got to see the Platters. It was in the late 60s, and I will never, never, never forget it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I want to take a moment to pay tribute to Zola Taylor, who was the first female member of the group. And because of her, the Platters was one of the very first pop music groups to have members of both sexes, which is just amazing, don't you think?
It very much is. And it makes such a difference. Like the current female vocalist that we have right now, she's relatively our newest member. So she's relatively new to the group, Brittany Bellamy. She actually auditioned for Herb Reed years ago, but wasn't able to join the group at that time. And Herb told her that she reminded him of Zola. And I can see that. There's a really beautiful, infectious energy about her. And I think that is the secret to the success of the group, sonically and energetically, to have that strong feminine presence.
Absolutely. And the Platters led the way for other groups featuring men and women like the Seekers, the Fifth Dimension, right?
Yes, that's right.
When you're on stage, Lance, singing
Yeah.
classic songs that have become part of the soundtrack of our lives, what does it feel like to be standing on the shoulders of these giants in the music world?
It's amazing. It truly is a blessing to have the opportunity. And there's such a responsibility, and it's an overwhelming feeling to be able to lend our talents to this amazing music that was created by these incredibly and talented people, and to see and feel the love from the audience, and to see how much this music means to everyone. It touches so many emotions, and it's been the soundtrack to so many important moments in many people's lives. Speaking of soundtracks, even now with the younger generation, when I meet, some of the younger generation here, I can reference and say, hey, do you know the show or the movie Deadpool Wolverine? Only You was featured in that. They know the song. They can sing along to it. So it's beautiful to see how it has this multi-generational impact when we're on the stage and also when we're out and about talking.
And I noticed when I was at your last concert in Niagara a couple of years ago, the audience was filled with people from every generation, right? From grandparents all the way down to young kids. And that is such a testament to the timelessness and the classic quality of those songs that you and your three group mates are delivering for us.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful show. We all talk about it. Our dance captain, Jovian, and our moving grooving man, Omar Ross, Jovian Ford and Omar Ross. They were both there, and we are so excited to return to Niagara Falls and go to the Falls View Casino. The staff was amazing there. The theater is just it's wonderful. So we're very happy that you were there with us and had such a wonderful time, and we very much look forward to returning.
And I will be in the audience, my producer and I. Now,
Excellent.
Lance, I'm sure you're aware that over the years, especially in the 50s and 60s, the members of the group were subjected to significant racism, especially when they performed in the Deep South. In fact, for a time in the early 60s, the group moved to Europe to get away from the racism. Do you believe it's important for audiences to be mindful of the history of the group so they can appreciate the music in the context of what the members of this group went through?
Absolutely. It's extremely important for our audience to understand our history because that move turned out to be an act of poetic justice, which actually gave us a pivoting moment in our sound, which originated with the Tin Pan Alley sound from the early 50s, moving into the 60s. And then in the 60s, when Sonny Turner joined the group just after Tony Williams left to pursue a solo career, that was the first turning point. But then shortly after that, forgive me, the timeline, at the point where we went to Europe to escape that drama, it changed the sound, and the group embraced more of a smoother, kind of silky sound, which really helped to shape and put us on the worldwide map. So it's very important to understand why we moved over to Europe and what that how that move served for us as an impact of the group's development moving forward as we continue in that development to this day.
And going to Europe wasn't just an impact of evolving the sound of the group, but the group got a huge international audience that they might not have ever had. So there was a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow when you consider that going to Europe made the group truly an international phenomenal success.
Absolutely. And that might not have happened if not for that unfortunate little moment there.
Would you like to see a movie or a mini series about the history of the group?
I would love to see that, actually. That would be really great. It would just be really nice for people to see and to understand the scope of our group's history. Because one of the things that we do often encounter online and sometimes in person, or people will challenge, oh, are you really the Platters? How can you really be connected to this great lineage? And we, instruct people to look at our website, which has the story, from start to finish. And there really is nothing there to hide in any way. If they go to the website and read the story, it's clear as day.
Now, originally there were 5 members of the Platters, and for a while during the 60s, there were 6 and even 7 members of the group. Today, there are 4 members of the group. How do you manage to create that signature sound of the Platters with only 4 voices?
Well, that's the interesting thing. A lot of people think that the group originated with 5, but it really originated with 4. It was founding and naming member Herb Reed, Joe Jefferson, Cornell Gunther, and Alex Hodge. And that was before adding Zola once they connected with Buck Ram. And there's a really obscure or random recording of the first recording of Only You, where it's just the 4 gentlemen, and Herb Reed is featured whistling on that recording. That's the origin of the Platters. So how we continue that sound moving forward is we keep the sound with the female vocalist there. We observe the same phrasing and signature kind of flourishes and touches, but we slightly modernize the sound, the instrumentation. The only spot that's missing vocally is just the bass voice, which is the spot that Herb Reed filled. And out of respect, we have not put a 5th member in the group since his passing.
How important is it to you, Lance, and to the other members of the group to reproduce the exact vocal arrangements and harmonies that we remember from those fabulous classic records?
It's very important for us, especially there are 5 major songs that are very sacred for us. And that's Only You, Twilight Time, My Prayer, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and
The Great
and The Great
Pretender.
Pretender. Ooh. Yes, those are the major five. We don't mess with those songs in any way. We try our best to preserve all the little touches because it's, as much fun as it is for the audience to receive those songs, it is equally sacred and so much fun for us to perform them.
Well, when I was at your concert a few years ago, I noticed that each member of the group had certain songs where they were the lead singer.
Correct.
Which songs are you the lead singer on?
The song that there are two that I do. One is in every show, and that's Smoke Gets in Your Eyes. And the other that I sing lead on is 16 Tons, which we do not always do, but that is a very fun one.
Oh, yeah. I think you did do that when I was there. And you also did a tribute to Motown when I was there, which we loved.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that is a very fun medley.
So, Lance, for those who have never seen the Platters perform live, what can people expect when they go to one of your shows?
I would say expect a party. We take you on a music journey. You're going to hear all the classic hits that you love, or most of them, I should say, not all. If we did that, it would be a very long show. But we do preserve the classic sound and the timeless hits that we always sing, plus some songs in there just for fun, and we show a little bit of sneak peek of what we're doing moving forward. Right now, after our meeting, I am going to a rehearsal where we're preparing to go into the studio for our album. So we're working on new music. We're getting ready for our Christmas show. There's a lot going on in the world of the Platters right now, but our show is a lot of fun. And if you like to sing along, dance, expect to have a good time with us.
I'm so excited that you have a new album coming out. Are they going to be brand new songs?
The first album that we're going to put out is a tribute to love songs through the decades. So one of the songs that I can speak on two songs. One is God Only Knows by the Beach Boys. We're doing our own spin on that one. And also Something.
By the Beatles.
That one, yes.
Well, that's going to be really cool. You're going to put a Platters signature spin on these classic songs that we know from history.
Correct. Yes.
And do you think at some point you might do an album of original songs, of new songs?
That's the plan for the album following just after that, which we are working on material for that album as well.
Okay, so I have to ask you right here in front of all these people, will you please come back on our show when you're ready to promote those albums?
Of course. I would love nothing more than that.
Well, I have to say, I'm so excited to see you. I wonder, do you have a favorite part of the show?
Favorite part of the show?
I mean, besides those two songs where you're the lead.
I do love those moments. Honestly, there's a song that we've been using at the end of the show as a dedication to. We dedicate the song in many ways, and it's a wish upon a star, and Omar Ross sings it, and it's a really beautiful moment at the end of the show.
Oh, I'm going to be looking forward to that. I cannot wait to see you in Niagara. It's been such a pleasure meeting you, Lance, and having this chance to talk about the legendary group that you are a part of. I know you guys are extremely busy on tour and preparing your album. I really appreciate you taking the time to appear on our show. Thank you so much, Lance.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Our guest has been Lance Bernard Bryant of the Platters. For more information about Mr. Bryant and the Platters and to see their concert tour schedule, please visit their official website, theplatters.com. My name is Harvey Brownstone. Thank you all for joining us. See you next time. Thank you to my producer, Steve Silver, my managers, Rick Marcelli and Robin Bragg Marcelli at the Marcelli Company in Hollywood, my director of programming, Robert Monaghan, my PR directors, Eileen Shapiro and Jimmy Starr, and my entire team at the XPTV1 network in the UK.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to check out all the great interviews on the Harvey Brownstone Interviews YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when new videos are posted.